and syrup.
Hello.
Hello.
This is it.
Okay, yeah. So today, let me get my headphones.
Yeah, let's get some juicy signals here.
Today we have an amazing guest with us, or I should rather say that I am a guest at Amazing Guy's Place.
True.
It's Griffin the Fourth.
I don't know about the fourth. Just Griffin for now.
All right.
Yeah.
So Griffin is one of the greatest drummers I know in the world. Really, I honestly don't know that many drummers, but Griffin definitely is one of the best. And can you introduce yourself?
Yeah, I am Griffin. Right now I go by Griffin. I'm a drummer, producer. I play other instruments as well. I hate using the word creative, but I would say like I'm a creative. And yeah, I'm based out of Toronto right now. I'm in the band Slay Station. You could search us out by searching SLAYSTN. That's our band. Check it out. We have a new single coming out soon. And I don't know. That's it.
All right. Let's talk about the drumming life first, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Can you tell me when you first started playing the drums?
Oh, man. I started probably about 10 years ago. I'd say it's 11 years ago. I started when I was 13, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And that was in high school. So the story, I guess it goes like I always wanted to play guitar, and me and my brother were always fascinated when we'd like pass a guitar store with our grandma or whatever. This was in Calgary.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, every time we'd see the guitar store, we'd be like excited to like want to try it or something, but we sucked. And I remember one time someone took us for lessons. I think it was Dad. And we did like one or two lessons for guitar and piano, and then we were both like too stubborn or whatever, and then they got canceled. So that was like those lessons were like I was probably 8 to 10,
Okay.
but eventually we did end up getting a guitar when we were 13. But the stipulation from our auntie was one person has to play the guitar and one person has to play the drums.
What? Why?
Yeah, so Ray got the guitar,
Right.
and then I was forced to like get the drum set, and then like our mom took us for lessons, so then I was a drummer,
Right.
and it was cool, but like back then I didn't really practice or care. Should I go like through my whole drumming journey? I guess I will.
Sure.
I'll keep talking.
Because I really, what my image was in my head, I was thinking the first moment you saw the drums, you were like obsessed with the drums. You just kept playing them over and over.
No, I didn't care about drums. No, it wasn't like that.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's actually like kind of the opposite. Like when we took lessons in Calgary, I didn't actually practice or like care for the drums. I remember the first like thing we did was we did the talent show, so I'd like do a lot of practicing in that, and we did like an AC/DC song.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Which song?
Back in Black.
Of course.
Yeah, of course. We didn't have like we had like 2 IQs, so that's like kind of how it goes. Just like the first thing you know, right?
Oh, right.
So like I like practice, but I didn't really. And then when I was about to enter high school, that's when I actually decided to move out here with my dad. And then my dad like kind of like he was kind of encouraging, and he got me an electronic drum set. So I was like, oh my God, you spent so much on this electronic drum set, like I should practice, right? So it kind of became like a habit to like kind of use its value and like not like let it go to waste. So I practiced like all the time. And I remember in high school, like that's when I was like practicing drums the most. I remember I just like every day after school I would like go and practice until like 8 o'clock, then maybe
Oh,
like play
wow.
some. Yeah, like I practiced a lot, and I did take lessons still here, so I was like learning and I was doing good. um I used to like when I was in school, I would like at lunchtime I'd go and practice out in like behind the school and like not socialize. It was kind of sad, but
How would you practice behind the school? Were there a drum set there?
just like no practice pad,
Oh,
like
right,
reading music or
right.
shit.
It's
like,
actually when the first time I met you, you were playing the drumming pad, and I didn't really know what the drumming pad is. I was like,
oh
what the hell is this guy doing? He's just why is it making so much noise? But then, yeah, I realized that's the practice.
Yeah, there's a lot of my drumming was like more or less based on a lot of chops. Like I'm not very good with timing. And like my drumming for years was just like all like shredding and just like kind of more esoteric playing, which
Hmm.
is fun and I highly encourage because it seems like the music industry now not enough people are calling for like music to be it has to be a certain way. Like, oh, you have to have perfect timing. It has to be like pop music. It has to be like tailored to the masses, blah blah blah.
Hmm.
But like the other creativity sides, you could do whatever you want with your instrument, right? You could play however you want. You could do whatever you want. You could I don't know. So I kind of like that too. It's kind of scary being in a world where people hate on that, but okay, yeah. So, anyways, my drumming journey. So I came to high school and practiced a lot here, and then I guess like to further explain my musical story is that I did have a guitar from my friend, so I did kind of use that on and off for a few years.
Is it this guitar by any chance?
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
So yeah, I started playing guitar. I would say like I got more serious about guitar like a few years ago. And then now I have a bass, and I kind of know stuff. I know like too much theory.
Hmm.
Know more theory than the average person, but not like a jazz player. I don't
Oh,
know
yeah,
like
those
that
guys
kind
are
of
crazy.
yeah. I
Like,
don't know like crazy theory, but maybe one day. I'm
hmm.
always working on stuff, but recently, like the last few weeks, been kind of bad on practice. Yeah, I guess that's my drumming journey.
All right. Were you
Yeah.
in any bands when you were in high school? Like, is this your first
High
band?
school. I think in high school I wasn't in any bands. Like I didn't talk to anyone. I was pretty much a loner.
What the hell?
I know. Well, it was weird because like I came from Calgary where I had all these friends and then like I was here and then I had no friends and I was bad at making friends.
Oh
So,
shit.
yeah, it kind of didn't work out, but I feel like everything's like kind of more or less flourished after high school because after high school I was like, well, I need to find a band. I need to like do stuff. So I was in and out of like 10 bands and like
Oh, wow.
just yeah, just kind of trying to figure out like what I mean that number is legit. I'm not like making up a number, but
Hmm.
um yeah, I was kind of like better at like finding people or like understanding the industry and then now I have lots of friends and I kind of understand like what benefits me in my life and how everything works. So,
Hmm. Do you still keep in touch with those guys that you played before?
yeah, I keep in touch with some people. Some people it's like, they're kind of bad or it was kind of awkward situation where I wouldn't necessarily like keep in touch, but
All
yeah,
right.
yeah.
Shit. All right. So tell me about the band that you are currently in. When did you start it? How?
Um, I guess I could say the origins of the band. When I would busk, I would go to jams after occasionally. This right now, like I can't really do that because there's a car and like watching your stuff, and that's a whole thing. But when I would like just like put everything up onto the dolly and stack it up and just go on the train or go on the bus or whatever,
I remember seeing those dollies when we were in the school.
yeah.
Like
Oh my
Griffin would
God.
always like we went to the same school in Toronto downtown. It's called Trebas, and Griffin actually lives in Ajax, so it would take him what
Two
two
hours.
hours to get there, and he would bring his dolly.
47-minute train ride, 24-minute bus ride, and then like another train
That's
ride and
crazy.
stuff.
And to make things worse, he's carrying all his drums with him all the time.
Yeah, so like I guess the story behind that was education costs a lot. I had like my mom paid for half of it from like her savings and then the other half like I got a grant from the government
Hmm.
and then there was like 5,000 where like I had to make it on my own. So I'm like I'm not getting a regular job or whatever.
Hmm.
And then so I just ended up busking. That's actually when the busking thing kind of took off.
Oh, that's how
'Cause
you started it.
yeah,
Oh
because
shit.
like before then I went like once or twice. I remember the first day the first day I went busking, it was with my stepmom and she like drove to work, so she took me and like dropped me off or whatever. But it didn't work out because she worked at like 6 a.m. So I got there at like 6 a.m. I'm like, fuck it, I'll play the whole day or whatever. but it doesn't work like that. Like there's nobody out at like 6 a.m.,
Right.
right?
6 a.m.
And then like you get like noise complaints and stuff. So I'd like wait until like 9 a.m. and people were still like pissed off at me for playing so early.
Was it still dark at 6 a.m. at that time?
I think when I got there it was like just ending being dark.
Shit.
Yeah, it was a crazy day. And then like that day too, it was my first interaction with talking to a homeless person. Like just like because I couldn't play, right? So I was like, I guess I was chilling with him and talking with him, which was cool. And the dude was nice. But yeah, that was a really shitty day. I don't even think I ended up playing. It was just like I just kept getting noise complaints and shit.
Right.
But anyways, like skip to school, I had to do it. So I had to work out like right after school, getting a few hours in to like pay for transit and pay for all that. But it ended up working out. If I like got a certain amount of hours busked throughout the week, then I'd be able to pay for the transit and blah blah. So it was nice. But
Actually,
I was like, sorry, I'm
hey,
continuing.
go ahead.
I was like really focused, so I was like always studying too, as you probably saw. Or I was always like studying on the train, so like I was like so deep into like getting good marks at the Trebus. I was like doing the math on how many hours I wasted and how many hours I was efficient. So I'd be like 96% of my time's like efficient, right? Where I
That's
got
not
like
bad.
practice and
Right.
yeah. Yo, that's like if you honestly do that, you'll realize how much time you waste, but it's not a healthy habit. But like if you like end up doing the math on how many hours you're awake during the week and how many hours you're actually productive, like getting like to like 90% is really hard, right?
Shit.
Because you got like sometimes you just like have to chill out or just watch
How would you
TV or whatever.
calculate it? It's like all the time you got during the day, you just
Yeah, so I guess it was like I wasn't sleeping much, so it was like for like I wasn't sleeping much for me. For some people,
how
it's
much did you
like
sleep?
I was probably like 6 or 7 average.
Uh-huh.
For me, that's like none.
Right.
I felt like I felt so brutalized like during school. But like yeah, so I would like take off like the hours I was awake. So say it was 18 hours or whatever.
Uh-huh.
I'd say oh, I studied 4 hours. I practiced drums. I made sure I practiced drums every day. Like that's kind of my habit.
Mhm.
So I have an hour of practice, 4 hours studying, and then there was school obviously, and then I would just like do it from there, do the math, blah blah, right?
Right.
So what were we talking about? I guess like busking took off, and like it kind of had to be done where I had to like bring everything to school, so it all had to go up onto the dolly setup, and that was like kind of something I thought of like before school where I could like stack the drums and tie it all together with bungee cords,
Mhm.
and then annoy bus drivers when I came onto the bus, and like oh my god, I like it was so frustrating because I was just trying to make ends meet to like finish school.
Right.
And then I would like get to a bus and they'd be like, I'm sorry, I'm not letting you on. I'm like, please, like, I have no other choice,
Oh
right?
fuck.
Yeah, so I don't know. Like, if you have like 200 pounds of gear, obviously it makes sense for a bus driver to be like, I'm not sure I could have that on my bus, right?
Mhm.
And then it like annoys them too because they have a little ramp and like they're like, oh, do I have to take out the ramp? Like they make it such a deal to like take out the ramp. Like it's automated. You just press a button and the ramp comes
Oh
out.
my
Like
god, seriously?
yeah, and I swear, like I've never seen someone in a wheelchair or stroller. I've never seen them like offer to use a ramp either. They just like pretend it's not a thing. It's like it's so hard to use a ramp. I don't know.
Wow.
Bus drivers are assholes,
What the fuck?
but I guess I'm an asshole for like annoying them. But
Okay.
bus drivers are assholes. Am I allowed to swear on here?
Sure, sure, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually remember I tried busking once on the street. It was the only time in my life. So I took my guitar. It was College Street and Young. It was so like I thought it would be easy. Like I would just go and play, but it was so scary and
Yeah.
like my hands were shaking. And then I just put my little amp there, and it just sounded terrible. And I earned $1 or two
Oh, how
dollars.
long did you play?
Maybe 30 minutes or so. But
Oh
then I
man, it was
just
probably a bad day. What time was it?
I don't remember. It was
See, there's like kind
still
of there's
bright.
a big science to it. Like you can't go like before 10 a.m. because there's just no people.
Uh-huh.
Like you gotta look at peak hours, right? So say the peak hours are like 11 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Uh-huh.
and then it dies down after that. So like ideally you want to be playing throughout those times. Unless it's like a weekday, there might be like less people in the afternoon, but sometimes not really. And then so peak hours, Sunday's like probably the best day, or
Uh-huh.
Friday. Sunday and Friday is when the most people are out. So there's that kind of signs. Plus, you have to find a good place, and it's like the other part of it is like there's a kind of like what do you call it, street politics, where there's like maybe a homeless person who has that corner, so you can't play there, or like there's security
What?
guards.
Seriously?
Yeah,
They can
because
chase you
like
away or something?
I don't know, a lot of homeless people get defensive about their territory because it's I don't know.
Okay.
But it kind of makes sense because they don't have a home, right? That's kind of their home. So if you're like intruding on them, and
Wow.
especially playing drums, which are so loud, it
Right,
could be
right.
you
Okay,
could be
okay.
really a nuisance.
Like a noisy neighbor
Yeah.
right in your home.
And then to be honest, I mean this with all due respect to a lot of homeless people, but it seems like a lot of people are there because the way they treat other people or the way they like go about their life. So as much sympathy I have for those people, there's a lot of people who like their situations kind of like brought upon by them. So I don't know. It's kind of there's a lot of bad people out there, is what I'm saying.
Hmm.
But there's a lot of good people, a lot of
Right.
good people, and what was I saying? Yeah, so there's also noise complaints. If you're playing drums, it's 100 dB, right? You
Hmm.
can't go play like I used to play by Union, and there's a lot of places there where it's just like office buildings, and you can't really do that because every single person in the office is gonna do a noise complaint, and then the
Hmm.
cops are gonna be there in like 5 minutes. So that happened to me a lot. So like there's kind of like especially busking drums, there's a lot of like trial and error where you have to find a certain location. And now you can't even play at Union. They made it illegal. And they're like the thing is their sidewalk there. Union's such a good place to play, by the way. Like historically, it's been such a good busking spot, but they kind of killed it the last. They killed it 2 years ago, I think.
Why'd you do that?
I don't know. So basically, their sidewalk is privatized.
Hmm.
So their security guards will shut you down no matter what, and they're told to, I
Right.
guess. But it's kind of not fair because it's like such a nice sidewalk. There's tons of space. There's like any busker is not taking away from like whatever I guess they want to have their space. I don't understand it. I don't
Hmm.
understand why you can't play there, but that's kind of how it is now. So you can't play by Union, then you can't play like any of those buildings near it because you'll get noise complaints. And then the only really other legit place you could play now is maybe the CN Tower or Dundas Square.
Right.
Or you could play like some parks, but yeah.
Hmm.
Drumming, you're kind of a nuisance. So for me, like the last area I could like actually play now is probably Young and Dundas.
Uh-huh.
And I've been hearing talks about them taking that like removing the square or the streets or something there, which would mean it would be privatized and the same thing would probably happen there,
Oh
which would
shit.
be not cool. So
Oh yeah.
Toronto's not a city of the busk. It's starting to die.
Do you remember your first experience? Like, were you scared the first time when you played?
Yeah, but I was yeah, always scared.
Like even now?
I would say I have pretty high anxiety. So like every time going out, the problem is like it's so hard for me to get out, right?
Hmm.
But then like the moment I've accepted that I'm like gonna go do this today, like my heart's racing, and then like everything's like already like okay, you it's like already accepted. You know what I mean? So like once I'm out there, I guess it's fine.
Hmm.
I sort of know what to do and how to handle myself. But like beforehand, there's like a lot of nervousness or a lot of like scaredness. And like, especially now, knowing that there's a lot of dangerous people out there, it's also scary, like knowing like what could happen or maybe who could not be having a good day or something like
Hmm.
that. So I don't know. It seems like now since COVID happened, like last year, there's been a lot of like thieves or just like a lot of people who are like aren't good people, but there's more of them on the street now because more people are poor, more people are, because of times, right?
Right.
So I don't know.
Hmm. What would you, if you were to give an advice to a person who really wants to play drums or any other instruments on the street, but they're actually super anxious about it? What they need to
Don't
do?
play. It's my territory. If you're in Toronto, don't do it. But if you're anywhere else, I would say like figure out a way to transport them. Like also be happy. Don't compromise with like a little like they have like these busking kits that they'll sell where it's just like a bass drum head and no body
Hmm.
and stuff like that. I would say like find a compromise between like the sound you intend to want and not just like the lightest, crappiest sounding drum kit. Like that's not really fun. And like drums, it's I would say maybe not play a drum set to be honest when you're busking. I've seen like a lot of people like do the pots and pans thing, or like you know you could have a hand drum or something more melodic. Like that's kind of more tailored to what people want to hear, I guess. It's
Mm-hmm.
less noisy.
Right, right.
So, but other than that, I would say like just be confident and do what you want because like that's the way the world works. You won't be successful if you don't actually utilize a plan to action of what you want to do.
Hmm. Did you play any other instruments except for drums on the streets?
No,
No?
not yet. I've like played some guitar in between songs. Like me and Tate, we were playing, and I knew some of his songs on guitar. So, but no one really heard it. Like I wasn't plugged in. And to be honest, I need to practice. I feel like I'm not good enough to do that yet. Or like I'd have to prepare something with
Hmm.
somebody and do that. But ideally, I'd love to be playing guitar on the streets. Yeah,
All
but I
right.
haven't.
So you said you actually met your band members when you were playing.
Oh yeah, so to backtrack, I guess I would go to jams after, and I should be going to more jams, but habitually I have not. Um, and there was like this crappy jazz jam that we'd do, and then I knew the guy James from there, so we started jamming at my place after. This was like last September?
Mhm.
No, yeah, June, July. Yeah, August or September. We started getting together and started making tracks of 2020, and then it kind of just blossomed from there. And our singer came into the equation because I knew her from a gig I did,
Mhm.
and I hit her up because like we made this R&B song. I'm like, oh, she'll be perfect for this. Like I think she kind of does this kind of things. And then she's like, yeah, sure, why not? And then James kind of talked her into it from there, and then we kind of formed as a group.
Wow.
So Emma is a singer and she produces her own stuff, but so far she hasn't done anything for the band. But that's what she does. James is guitarist. I'd say he's very hands-on, so I'd say he's also kind of a producer, mixing engineer. He's pretty new to it, but he's very particular, which is like such a good trait. Um, he pushes all of us to be very particular. And then me, I'm producer, drummer, blah blah blah. So for our gigs, I'll be playing bass and drums.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Great. So, what's the plan for the future for the band?
Well, hopefully we have some gigs coming up in the summer. Emma's got some good government sponsored gigs. So we might be doing a few of those. I gotta practice.
Mhm.
I'm behind. Um, there's those, and then obviously we got a new single coming out soon, and hopefully a full album. And I guess that's what we're working on. Ideally, I'd like to be having a lot of gigs, but since stuff isn't really open now and stuff isn't the same, maybe when vaccines roll out, that's when our
Aren't
we'll
they
be doing
still
that.
allowed?
Yeah, but it's all depends on attendance and stuff. I'm not gonna go somewhere and play for like $10, or maybe I will, but it depends. It depends
Mhm.
on the gig.
All right.
I would love to like organize a gig with a few bands and like actually have like a decent attendance and have like a fun night. Like
Mhm.
that's ideally what I'd want to happen. I
Right.
know we could get a lot of people out if we have enough bands, right?
Can I have some water?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm super thirsty right
I'll get you some water.
now. Thanks.
I'm thirsty too.
Ooh.
I was gonna ask before.
Okay. So, Griffin, aside from being music producer and musician in general, also is doing some, how's it called? DIY?
DIY?
DIY.
Yeah, there's a lot of creative things going on.
Yeah, because right now we're in this little basement studio of his, and it looks pretty freaking amazing. All these absorbers around us, and the other
Yeah,
room is filled with drums
custom
and
panels,
yeah,
custom drums on the way.
yeah.
I the custom drum journey was my first drum set in Calgary. I remember like I was just so annoyed of like this ugly bronze color it had. So we we found like this wallpaper, this like gray, this black and white like cool wallpaper. I wasn't even there. Ray and Matthew picked up our old band in Calgary,
Mhm.
and we ended up wrapping it in the. I don't know how I knew to do this, but like I removed the wraps on the drum set. Then we like added the wallpaper. We got it perfect. We lacquered it. We used polyurethane, sanded it, polished it. Did all. I don't know how I knew how to do this. I was just like so intuitive, right? So, anyways, I still have one of those drums, by the way. They're like the ugly green
So you
ones.
put wallpaper around the kick drum.
Yeah, all the drums
Uh-huh.
basically. It was so nice because it would like shrink and it would like get so tight. It was like perfect for it. But the problem with like polyurethane is that sometimes it's oil based or even some of the water based ones are discolored. So like
Mhm.
it ended up being like this ugly green for some reason, even though it's supposed to be clear. It would look so sick clear. So that was like our first trial, I guess. Um, and then I like tried stuff on and off with like polishing and like what I ideally want to do. So right now is I'm kind of making a more finalized version of what I want. So I do have that small bass drum there, that yellow and white one.
Oh, that one in
Yeah.
the room.
Yeah, so I'm working on making all those kind of look like that but be much more shiny. And right now I'm going for like a double bass drum setup,
Mhm.
which is pretty crazy for like the music I play, but I'm working on two matching bass drums right now, and they're all going to be that nice striped pattern and then covered in whatever stickers I could find or get from people. And then my brother's just doing a custom drum set. I also have a few like custom cymbals. Like I fuck with my cymbals sometimes. As you can see, like that stack there is green. It's kind of like
Oh,
rusted
right.
on purpose. Um, I did hammer my crash cymbals to make them sound better. So there's, yeah, there's a lot of DIY going on. This desk, I made the desk. I
Oh
don't
yeah,
know.
this desk is freaking huge and it's so heavy. Took us what around 10 minutes to actually move it to the spot it is right now.
Yeah, we,
Yeah.
it's a sturdy desk. This th- this this thing, oh man, I started it. I'm like, oh, this will only take a few days. And
Right.
then we had like no equipment, so I'm like hand sanding it. I'm like hand gluing it.
You
There's
hadn't
like,
sanded it, the whole thing.
yeah.
Holy fuck.
Well, we have an orbital sander, but like the problem with the orbital sanders is I don't know, it's only dependent on some things. Like if you do the side, it might like catch edges or something,
Hmm.
or it might like and then there's like a billion dust particles that'll come for orbital sander, so if you hand sand it won't be as crazy.
Right.
So yeah, there was a lot of sanding. A lot of sanding, a lot of painting, a lot of assembling, and then finally I did get it done, but it took so many weeks, and then it was like something I kind of ended up like off to the side and on the back burner, and then finally like I get it assembled. I jerry rigged like the things for the rack mounts,
Hmm.
and then like the cabinetry that was so annoying. It's so hard to do cabinets, like get them straight and stuff,
Oh shit.
and like putting the rollers in, you have to like I don't know cabinet making's very hard, and I'm not a cabinet maker, right? So
uh,
yeah,
so it took you was around a
a
month,
month.
right?
Yeah,
That's
on and
impressive,
off,
man.
just like a lot of time, but it's much better than like the shitty old foldable table I had
Oh
in here.
yeah, for sure, for sure.
And that thing was like bending too. It was a nightmare. And it was like, don't put so much weight in the middle, it'll break. Like I don't have anything better.
Uh, are you planning to do anything else in future?
Um, well, I think like those drums I'm working on is like my biggest project that's like making me happy about like how I want to project myself. Um, I want to do my own album. I know I'm really bad at like being what's the word? Being prolific. I'm really bad at being prolific with my music, but ideally I'd like to do an album. I do have a few songs in mind that like I'm like, yeah, I could see those on an album, but I'm also like, I don't know, can I do better in these or like I don't know. I'm still like learning different sounds, learning a lot like different scales and kind of like
Hmm.
ideas I want to like put out there into my music. And then like a lot more experimentation I want to like to be more I don't know. I kind of want my music to be like almost like between like Like Aphex Twin and Jacob Collier, I guess. So
I know Jacob Collier. Who is Aphex?
Aphex Twin's like electronic producer. It's very his stuff is very like very refined, very crazy sometimes. It's just like a lot of technologically like crazy stuff going on in
Hmm.
Ableton or whatever DAW he uses. I don't know what DAW he uses. I'm a bad fan.
Right, right. So it would be like,
I actually don't listen to too much of him, but I'm just saying like that's kind of like the sound I guess I want.
so it would be a combo of EDM and some jazzy stuff.
Yeah, more or less like a clashing of like acoustic and electronic, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Which is kind of like the idea between playing drums, right?
All right. Do you like playing with time signatures?
Yeah. Yeah, the last song, like the last real song I made, it was like in 9/8. So it's like three groupings of three, but then I think it like changes. So I think it like I don't know. It was one you'd have to hear the song. It's kind of weird, but it was kind of cool. But the thing is, I ended up like processing it too much and adding guitar. Like it was sounding good, but it was sounding like too clean, kind of not very rough. But
Is it
I don't know.
hard playing those signatures if you're playing drums?
Yeah,
Like, how long would it take you to actually make it perfect?
I don't know. Like I'm not the guy to like be recording like straight drum tracks in 9/8 or whatever. Like I'm not like Tron or Polyphia or like a band like that. But yeah, I don't know. It ideally like learning a song's not hard. It's just like you need to know how to learn a song, right? Like I learned a bunch of gospel songs, which were like really tough.
Mhm.
But the trick is like you got to actually hear the song like a million times, right?
Right.
Like so what you can do is if you're trying to learn a really hard song, you need to like make it your life. Like you need to listen to it on repeat for a few hours. Maybe if you go work out or something or go for a walk. And if you're like going to sleep, maybe you could like leave it on repeat while you sleep. And like you'll hear it like maybe in 30 minutes before you fall asleep. And then
Right.
it might get ingrained in your brain better while you're sleeping or something. And then like you spend a few days on it and you'll like make like remarkable progress on something that was like seemed like almost impossible a few days ago, right?
So it's if you want to write something similar, you would listen to something similar for a couple of days. Is that
Yeah, or you could just like start building your thing that's like complex and then just like keep hearing it a million times and
Mhm.
kind of like
Aren't you
make
afraid
it.
that it will gonna you're gonna write something that's very similar to what you've been listening to? Because there have been a few cases.
Well, no, the idea behind creativity is your creativity is based off of like all your former knowledge. And so like I feel like that's not really the case. You'll kind of like draw from everywhere, and you're not going to particularly draw from one subject specifically.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
Um, how do you get in your creative mood? Like when you usually write your songs, how do you go about it?
Hmm. How do I? I feel like I'm always creative. If I'm like motivated, and that's like really dependent on a few things, I feel like I'm creative. I don't really have to force anything. It just like it kind of just happens. I feel like for me artistically, like as a personal experience, my creativity is based on like my hormones. So
Mhm.
supposedly men have like a 90-day hormone cycle where like every 90 days you're kind of like low or you're kind of high. The same as like women have like a 30-day cycle, right?
So men have 90-day
So
periods.
yeah, supposedly. So so I would say like something like that. Like I would say for like a few weeks of like every like couple months, like I'm really like focused on something where it's like I don't know, I'm like just super drawn on whatever I'm involved in at the moment. And then
Uh,
like there's like maybe one week that happens where it's like I'm like the laziest person ever, just like I don't know, you know?
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But how do you, if you were write to song, how do you start it?
Oh man.
Is it the same process every time, or is it always different?
It can be different. Like I've been experimenting with a lot of like drone music, like kind of like finding different scales and different sounds. So I don't know. You usually typically for me, I guess in Ableton, it would start with like maybe a drum beat or like
Mm-hmm.
playing with samples. A lot of the time now, I make my own samples, so I'll like do some like sound design experiments and maybe
Mm-hmm.
draw from that. And I don't know. It seems like my mind goes a lot of different places where like one sometimes I'll be like, oh, let's make like a drum and bass style song, or sometimes I'll be like, let's make like a crazy electronic song, or let's make like a drone song or something. Like I don't know. It kind of draws from like a lot of places
Right,
where I
right.
want to explore.
Just reminded me of that session we were talking about recently that had what almost 200 tracks.
Oh my God.
What was it?
I think that was one of our band songs.
Oh,
We
really?
like yeah, we retracked vocals like 4 times or something.
How did you end up with so many tracks?
Yeah, so we retrack vocals and like all the harmonies too. So each time it's like 20
Oh,
tracks, right?
Jesus
And
Christ.
then plus there's like guitar takes and all those like so it ends up being a big session. But I try to like organize it, maybe duplicate the session, delete stuff that
Mhm.
doesn't need to be there. I don't think there's like I think like my like finished songs nowadays typically are around like 70 tracks. I don't know. There's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on. I'm
Mhm.
just going crazy. Like my brother, I guess. If you saw his music, it gets like you'll see like audio effect racks and then like you'll see like 10 more audio effect racks just like full of like LFOs, reverbs, blah blah blah,
Right,
right? It's
right, right.
crazy.
Wait, I never put a reverb on the actual plugin over here. I mean,
Oh.
yeah, whatever. Yeah. Have you used different DAWs?
Yeah, well, in school, we used
Oh,
everything.
right. Yeah, that was such a stupid question, but
Cubase,
yeah, yeah. Oh my God,
Logic.
that's so terrible.
Cubase is nice.
It's okay. I don't know. I'm so used to Ableton right now. It just
Yeah, Ableton is ideal. I actually like Pro Tools. I like all the how you could do all the commands and
oh
like
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Ableton, like when you're tracking drums, you have to like click mic one, mic two, mic three.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
so tedious on Pro Tools. You could just like do it with like one click,
Oh yeah,
right?
yeah, definitely.
That's so nice, but Pro Tools is kind of lacking in a lot of areas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ableton is nice. I use like FL on and off. Um, I wouldn't say I'm like an expert at FL. I could
Mm-hmm.
use it.
Oh wow. Mm-hmm.
Logic, it seems like to be intuitive to me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what other DAWs are there. Audacity.
Oh fuck Audacity.
I'm not a beast on Audacity yet.
It's so bad, but it's free.
It's bad, but to be honest, like some of our vocal repairs I do in Audacity, so it's
No
pretty
way.
yeah.
Why?
Because basically in Audacity you could zoom into the waveform
Uh-huh.
and then there's like a repair function. So like it'll like look at like I don't know how big, like a few milliseconds of the sound wave and
Uh-huh.
it could like repair that or like it'll like interpret like the part before it and then kind of like
Oh
repair
shit.
that.
Wow.
Yeah, so like the repair function's like perfect for like fixing clicks and stuff.
Uh-huh.
If it works, like sometimes you'll have to do it like 20 times and then it never ends up working.
Shit.
But like, or you could like manually draw the wave custom, but yeah. So like it's useful for that. I do have RX,
Mhm.
like Isotope RX audio editing and repair, but like that doesn't pick up all the clicks and stuff. So I still have to go through Audacity at the end of it. But
Wow, I didn't know they have such a feature there.
yeah, luckily I got RX on the holiday sale. Like normally it's like hundreds and I got it for
Oh
like
yeah, that's
$50.
tough. That's tough expensive.
Yeah.
Have you tried Bitwig?
No.
It's like kind of like Ableton, but a bit different. Lots of modular stuff.
Oh. Is
Yeah.
it like a fully modular like
Uh, not fully. It's like combination of modular and being like regular DAW.
so okay, so like you could like I guess like make a synth on it with like modular.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Um, yeah, kind of remember the stuff you were doing at school. So when we had Photoshop classes at our school.
I forgot about that. Holy shit. Me and Raphael had a fun time in that class.
They would create the most outrageous stuff in Photoshop and what Premiere Pro, what was it?
Yeah, we we kept making memes of the teachers for fun, and just like everybody loved it because everybody knows the teachers,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah. I still remember that video you made for graduation or before the graduation, like where Darius' just head would go like into triangle and back, and you would put distorted 808 on it. Oh, that was so funny.
Oh my God, that class was fun because it was such like a bullshit class, I guess.
Mm.
What was that class even? I can't remember. It was with that girl. It was
Uh,
I don't know.
what if she listens to it? Her name starts with L, I think. Lucy? No.
Whatever. That was such a weird class. Our school was so weird for the viewers watching. Our school was so weird because it started in like what was that, Bloor and Queen?
Dundas. Dundas and
No, the original location.
Dundas West and Bloor.
Yeah. So it started there and then the school actually moved in the middle of so it was weird.
Yeah.
But it was nice for me when it moved because I used to have to take a Durham Transit bus and then I'd have to take the train to Union and I'd have to take the other Up Express train, which was like $5 for like one station. It was so stupid. Or my other choice was like to take the TTC and it would be like 10 stops and it would take like 45 minutes. So I'm like, well, which one am I going to pick? It's obviously going to be the Up Express. It takes like 5 minutes, right?
Right.
But yeah, that was so dumb how the Up Express works. And then like when it moved, it was like more convenient for me. But then it sometimes wasn't because I remember one day I was busking and I brought my drum set and like the escalators would sometimes work and sometimes not. So like I took the train all the way to what was our station?
Dundas West?
No, the station that was at the
Wellesley?
Yeah, Wellesley. Wellesley's such a bad station. Like the escalator was broke, so I'd like take the drum set up the escalator like there are stairs, which is like really scary, right?
How heavy is it?
How heavy? It's like 200 pounds, probably. Yeah, so like you'd have to like inch it up every step, and it's like kind of like you're doing like a 150-pound deadlift each time, like the way it's angled, so it's like kind of awkward. And then it's scary because like people are waiting behind or above. You're like, oh, this might fall and kill them, and then like they don't know or they're like stupid, so they'll like go in front of you.
Oh shit!
Like I've been like sometimes I've had to like take an escalator and then people will go behind me. I'm like that's the stupidest thing you could do. Like, what if I fall? Like,
yeah.
we'll both die.
Wow.
It's been scary times.
Kind of makes sense after that story that you went into bodybuilding.
Bodybuilding, yeah. I don't know. I guess I always kind of worked out, but it's a fun passion of mine to try to exercise.
Yeah. So, why did you go to Trebas in the first place?
I always wanted to do music school, I guess, and my dad kind of forced me into it because he's like, you're not doing anything. You need to be in school. And then that's kind of how when I remember I did the interview, I'm like, I don't want to do this. But then I ended up doing it somehow. And then, yeah, that's how I went to Trebas. It wasn't really on my vocation. Is that the word? I don't know.
Right. Okay.
How'd you end up going to Trebas?
Oh, for me, it was I lost in life completely. I went.
I mean, it was actually the same for me.
Okay.
Because like it was like nothing's working at this point. My life sucks. Like
right.
That's kind of how I ended up there.
Yeah.
But I mean, I learned so much from school. I'm so proud of like that I did it.
Like the moment for me was, if you know this YouTuber guy, his name is Graham. I think recordingrevolution.com or something like that. And before the moment I watched the video, I didn't realize that there were audio schools there.
Oh.
And after watching it, he mentioned audio schools, and I like, oh, maybe I should try that, like, because I like all that stuff. Yeah, but definitely was a great experience meeting all the cool people.
Yeah, it was definitely a good experience for me because I learned like how hard I could work on something. Because I like ended up losing so much sleep on like studying and all that crap. But I got good grades.
I still remember that project that we did for Ian's class.
Oh my god!
Like
mine looked beautiful.
So thick, like so many pages.
Dude, mine was like 120 120, I think, 124 or something. But it was like so beautiful. I like designed it looking so good. I'm so proud of it. Like,
You still get it?
yeah,
Shit.
it's somewhere on my computer.
I think I threw mine out.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man. Did yours look good? I can't remember
It
yours.
was okay. Like it was fine.
Ian was nice because he was such a hard ass, but like it was a good thing because he always pushed us to do
Mhm.
good. And then like when I gave that project into him, I gave it to him like early a few days, and then he's like, "Well, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. Fix it." And then it was good because I got to fix it. I didn't get a bad
Right.
grade, right?
Yeah.
So
I miss this guy.
yeah.
I miss his voice
I
actually.
remember like how frustrated he'd make people though, and like every time he'd have to explain something, he's like, "Oh, blah blah." I feel like that sometimes to my friends, to be honest,
Oh
and my
shit.
brother. When I'm like explaining stuff, I'm like, "Dude, it's like you've been using Ableton for like 3 years now. Like, come on." I have like a few Ian moments.
uh, yeah. Okay. Mm, gotta think here a little bit. What else did I ask?
Can I ask you questions?
Sure. Yeah.
What's with the calisthenics stuff? What are you working on now? How did this become a thing?
Mm. Um, it all started actually when I was in my grade 5 or grade 6. We had a bunch of friends.
Is this where you learned how to do like the handstand and all that stuff?
No, the handstand I learned a little bit when I was a kid, but yeah, this group of people I worked on it more and more. But yeah, I would learn a few things when I was in high school, and it kind
Wait,
of
where was this?
in Ukraine. Yeah, and we would have all the pull-up bars over there, and we just go out with friends and do some pull-ups
That's
and pullovers.
badass. No one would do that here.
But in Ukraine and Russia, it's very popular. Like
Yeah.
if you cannot do that stuff, like you're a loser.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah, because
I always wonder if it's like that, like Russia and like everyone around there, there's so many tough and strong people. And then here it's like, I don't know, people are afraid to the.
I think it's because we have those calisthenics parks almost everywhere. I was so confused when I came to Canada. I was looking for one of those parks. I couldn't find any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see you doing like the things with the bars, and like there's none of those down in Ajax. Like all we have are like monkey bars and like
Yeah,
shit.
for kids.
Yeah, but like I still use that stuff in improvised calisthenics. Like I could show you some stuff, but
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah, we gotta go to the park afterwards.
Yeah.
Yeah, and now we pretty much got a little group. Actually, two groups that the first one formed around.
How'd you find them? How'd you know?
I just went to the park that formed next to my place where I live. It was around 3 years ago, so I was going there, and I was kind of by myself. And then there appeared one guy, and he said, "Hey, I'm creating a little workout group. Let's work out together." And after that moment, it was kind of 4 people, then 5 people, then 6, then 6. Now this group is 170 people.
What?
Yeah. And
Wait, this was started by you? Kind of?
I was like,
Wait, is there a name for this group, like a Facebook group and all that?
It's a WhatsApp group.
Oh, that's sick.
Yeah.
Is there a logo?
Kind of. It was just a picture from the Google.
Oh.
Yeah. So yeah, it wasn't formed by me, but I was one of the first guys that.
You're a founding member.
Yeah. And we would go to the park every day. We would work out in the morning, like 6 a.m. First it was 7 a.m., but then we have to shift it to 6 a.m. and we would meet all the people, and like, it kind of helps you physically when you work out like that, but it also helps you mentally because you're talking to so many people. I really love that part of working out. Yeah, and yeah, right now we have a second group. It's more, how do you say? Like we added 40 people, and we did not go more than that because the bigger it gets, the more difficulty to control it.
Yeah.
And yeah, we just do workouts in the afternoon and the mornings.
Like every day or what?
Yeah,
like,
every day.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, I'm trying to learn how to do the planche right now. It's so freaking difficult.
Like planche is that one, right?
Yeah.
You're on your front?
Yeah. Like when you hold your whole body just with your
Shoulders kind of.
Yeah, shoulders,
anterior delts and
wrists, delts as well.
that's crazy. I don't know. I would always love to like try figuring that out one day. That seems, I don't know. Is that like one of those exercises where like you have to be short and then you'll be really good at it? Because I'm short. I watched
uh,
a thing on like what's it called? Front lever. And it's like most of the athletes who could do front lever are like below 5'8" or something because it's just
oh yeah, yeah. If you're
so
shorter,
convenient.
it
Yeah.
does definitely help. Uh, but it's a very difficult move still. You have to spend lots of time to do that.
Yeah.
But about like you said, if you're sure you can do that, there are a few dynamic moves. Like for example, it's called suicide drop where you sit on top of the bar. Like if this is the bar, you sit on top of it, and you gotta swing backwards, and you catch the bar right here underneath your knees, and you swing 360 and back on the bar.
Oh my God.
That you just need the courage. You don't really need really lots
Yeah.
of strength there. But yeah, like I learned that I couldn't do it in the park because I was afraid to fall. I had to do it to a special place called OCR, and it has mats on the
Yeah.
floor. So I tried it there, and after that it was fine.
Yeah, maybe you could like coordinate like bringing a mat or something
Yeah,
to the
yeah, yeah.
park. I don't know.
Definitely helps, just psychologically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then like I feel like there's a lot of like crazy people out there who like you'll never catch up to because they're just like they don't care at all and they'll get all those moves,
Yeah,
you
it's
know?
just like yesterday I've met this guy. He can do like so many creative things with his hands. Like I know how to do the handstand, but I'm not that proficient. He would just go slowly into it, and you can see the control that he's got in his wrists and his arms, and he can go up on one hand and just stand on one hand there. It's insane. Looks so
Wow.
awesome.
Does that like what kind of strength do you need for that? Like is there a lot of shoulder mobility strength you need or
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
stability or a lot of
Definitely,
wrist
definitely shoulders,
strength?
definitely wrists, abdominals as well. Yeah, the more the better.
That's cool.
Yeah. Okay. Uh,
I do like for like calisthenics wise, I just do a lot of push-ups and then I do like as you've seen maybe on my stories a lot of like those crazy like I call them horizontal pull-ups where you're kind of like traveling along the bar like sideways instead of up and down.
oh, okay. Like this.
Yeah, like that. Or there's you could do like a hammer curl variation where your hands are like that instead of like pro pronated.
Uh-huh.
So yeah, there's that. That's all I do. And then,
All right.
like heel touches, I kind of like practice work on my pistol squats. I could
Oh,
do
I
I could do
freaking
pistol
hate
squats.
pistol squats.
I could do a bunch, but
Right, right, right.
I like them.
Do you do legs often?
Yeah.
All right.
I used to be like when I'd go in the gym, I'd train legs so hard. It was crazy. I miss
Shit.
that.
Oh, you kind of reminded me of that moment with Justin. You remember? Look at his calves.
Dude, wait, Justin was the guy with big calves, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he had insane calves. I
Oh
remember.
my god.
I'm a fan of anthropometry.
Right,
I see
right.
like someone with like huge calves. I'm like, damn, like I don't know.
I don't know. The first time I heard it, it was so weird for me. Like, look at his calves. I was like, what? But then, yeah, he kind of has cool calves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see like some people they're like I don't know. You see like some people like giant forms are like how? Like
Right, right, right.
it's just their genetics. I could train my arms like I could take like whatever supplements I want to take like a shit ton of steroids and
Mhm.
my arms will never be like that and they're just like saying they're never trained a day in their
Yeah,
life
yeah.
and they like it's crazy.
Have you seen that guy on Instagram or YouTube? I don't remember. He has like so big, forearms are so big. Like they're so huge.
Which guy? I don't know.
Oh, my phone is not here.
I can't think of a particular guy.
Yeah, but
I probably do. Who knows?
yeah, I'll send it over to you later. Yeah, he's insane.
Frank McGrath.
So yeah, something like that. I don't know.
Frank McGrath was like a bodybuilder, and like there's this like he had a few viral pictures where his like forearms were just so jacked, and like
Mhm.
the veins were like it was just ridiculous. His veins were just like, yeah, it looked insane.
Right, right. Do you work out every day, or what's your schedule?
Yeah, I work out pretty much every day.
Mhm.
I don't really take rest days. Right now, like I'm doing more of a split, like back, chest, legs,
Mhm.
kind of split. More or less, that kind of works for me when I'm training at home because like I can get a better pump and get the muscles more swole that way, and it just works out better for me volume wise.
Mhm.
And plus, like without that kind of intensity of like, should I rant about bodybuilding here?
Sure, sure.
Okay, so like Wait, do you understand any of this of what I'm talking about?
I'll let you know if I don't.
Bodybuilding splits, I guess. Do you
I don't know
understand that?
I don't know what's a split.
So a split is where like you could divide your body into sections of like what you want to train that day. So there's like a full body split where you're training every muscle every day. So say you're doing like squats, bench, and deadlift or
Hmm.
something. Um, there's like a typical bro split, which would be like back, chest, legs, and then shoulders one day, and then arms another day.
Hmm.
And then there's like other splits. Like you could do whatever you want, but like the idea is like to hit a certain body part a certain amount of times throughout the week and
Hmm.
split it up whichever way. So right now, like I'm just trying to like keep the intensity up. So like to keep the intensity up, if you're doing full body, it's kind of hard because like you can't get chest pump or you can't get leg pump because you're like the blood's moving everywhere
Right.
else. So yeah, I I I've been doing like a kind of 3 day split and I kind of just do shoulders. I throw them in whenever, or like arms. I'll try to throw them in whenever. I need to work more on my arms. My arms are small, but yeah. So yeah. I guess that's what I've been doing for bodybuilding. I've been doing like a lot of arm wrestling, a lot of calisthenics. Like with my buddy, we do arm wrestling once a week.
Who do you compete with?
Just my buddy, and then there's an arm wrestling club I was gonna join
Hmm.
and like just like practice. I don't think I'd be that good, but it's just always fun to like practice and learn stuff, right?
Right.
There's like a lot of huge guys in there, so
Oh, I bet
I'll
there
never,
are.
yeah.
Hmm.
But I'm sure like from like people like in like arm wrestling competitions, there's weight categories also. So I feel like in my category, I do pretty good. Who knows?
Hmm. Actually,
Like
you just reminded me of a video I seen on YouTube. There was this Russian guy who would practice a lots of arm wrestling workouts, and he would go to the gym and he would pretend to be like a weak guy, but like in reality, he is super pro at arm wrestling. And
schoolboy or
it was a Russian guy.
yeah,
Yeah.
a schoolboy's Russian, I think.
Is he?
Yeah,
I don't remember his name. Could be.
yeah.
But he was wearing glasses, like super nerdy stuff.
Oh.
And he would go to like the big jack guys and he would, can we do some arm lesson? Can you teach me some stuff? And the guys would be, of course, yeah, okay, okay.
Oh my gosh.
And then that guy, like
It's
super
such a
skinny.
different thing. Like they don't understand like
Yeah,
that
yeah,
arm wrestler could like just like destroy them on the table.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's like, it's all about the, how do you call these things?
Tendons.
Tendons. Yeah, like
Yeah,
he
there's
had this
man,
thick tendons.
dude, like every single arm wrestling session, like for like the first year is just like every time your tendons here, your extensors, everything in here is like destroyed. Like
Oh, shit.
yeah, like I remember the first session we had like in September when like we got back into it. I was sore for like 4 weeks. Like it's
4 weeks.
yeah. Like the thing is tendons take three times longer to repair than muscles,
What?
right? So like think of like the first time you ever worked out, your muscles might be sore for like a week,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
Times that by three, your tendons are sore for like 3 or 4 weeks. It's crazy. But then like once they start getting used to it, you're not really gonna get as sore. Your arms are gonna get more fortified and all that.
Shit.
So
3 weeks is a lot.
yeah, it's crazy.
Wow.
But my ideally, I haven't had an arm wrestling session like more than a week. But ideally, I want to keep that going. Just like keep growing, keep getting
Hmm.
stronger.
All right.
Yeah.
Tell me about that marathon you're on.
Oh, that's a good one. I don't know. I don't want to say like I'm like what's the word? Manic or anything. Like do stuff like randomly or like have like really highs or really lows.
Hmm.
But like sometimes I'll be like, let's just do this for fun, right? Like I've done like 2,000 sit-ups for fun or like that kind of stuff. That was influenced by Serge Nubret, by the way,
Uh-huh.
legend. Marathon, I was just like, I've never done a marathon. Why don't I go do it? It was a huge mistake because I hadn't been running, right? So like I had like no endurance, no yeah, no endurance and not much strength, but I'm like I feel like I could do this. So I just randomly went out. I like charged my phone. I didn't even eat, I don't think.
Hmm.
Or maybe I had like a small meal and then I just went out. I remember being really nervous for like an hour before. I'm like, I don't know if like I should do this. I don't know if I can even do it. You know, I'll do it. And then like I went out and then like I went to the waterfront. So I went down south from here and I was feeling pretty good. Got the music and then I'm like I might pass my buddy's house. I might hit him up. Maybe
Hmm.
he could give me a meal. I'm feeling pretty hungry. I was like 13 kilometers in or something.
Right.
And then I'm like, he never answered. So I just kept going like down that way. And then that was like towards Toronto. I'm in Ajax.
Mm.
And I got like really far into like some really obscure like industrial area. I've been there, but like yeah, so like I got to like the power plant or something, and it's like at this point, like it was starting to get hard, and I every time I'd pass a park by the way, I would like do pull ups and shit. So it was
Mhm.
like it was a full body workout
Oh
that whole
shit.
day.
So you were running and doing workout?
Yeah, I was I was doing like I did like this. I'll show you like the calisthenics stuff I do at the park, but like I went hard on my entire body that day, and like eventually I went north, so I like did like a big square. I know it. I know like this side of Toronto really well because I explore too much. But
Hmm.
um yeah, so like I do the big square, and then I finally come back to my house. I've done like 40 something. Wait, how long is a marathon?
42.
42. Yeah. So I think I've done like 30, 37 or something, and my
Hmm.
phone died. So I had to like count an extra mile or something on Google Maps after.
Hmm.
But yeah, I was like at that point, like I was like by the time I like got near the house, I was like walking half the time. It was so brutal. And I was like
Shit.
I was out of shape.
How'd you
I
feel
would
afterwards?
wait, I'll
Okay.
explain that. So I get a meal in and I'm like, okay, I could do this. And then like I go somewhere like nearby and like I finished the 5K or whatever else I needed. And then that was a marathon. So that was epic. But like um I ate and I like got downstairs. It's like I was kind of tight, and then the next day it was just like my body was broken. It's not my knees are like since I train like legs so much, my knees are fine, right?
Oh
My
wow.
my hips are like kind of sore,
Uh-huh.
like because I don't run the most, and then my calves like or my ankles were like bro. Like 13, I remember 13 kilometers into the run, my calves were like, okay, no. Like because I have tiny calves, right? So but the furthest I've run before that is like 25K.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say like I'm a nobody to running, but
Hmm.
like the 25K again was like just me randomly going to like the lake and running
Hmm.
back or something like that. Something stupid. It's just like bored one day.
All right.
Um, yeah, so for like the next few days after a marathon, my muscles are like pretty like have good endurance. So like I recovered pretty quick after a few days,
Hmm.
but like man, I was sore.
I bet it did.
My calves were like so sore. I think that was the sorest part.
Okay, okay.
'Cause
Yeah, I thought it would be your knees, but you said
no, my knees were
all right.
perfectly fine. My
Yeah.
knees are solid.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah, wow.
it was brutal, but I mean, I knew I could do it. I knew
Hmm.
like I had the mentality. It's more about like what you can mentally do than what you can physically do. I feel like I could like run 100 kilometers or more if I like had training, right?
Hmm.
But I mean, like at that point, it's more or less like you have to get into the mindset of like keeping it going and keeping yourself motivated, not being scared. Like you get so many anxieties when you like do like something big like that, like oh maybe I'll hurt my like ankle so bad I'll never be able to walk the same, or maybe like I'll break my knee or something, I'll
Hmm.
stumble or like because like these strides are getting really hard, maybe I'll stumble and something really bad will happen, or like I'm alone and like I'm this far from this, like it'll be annoying if something happens, right?
All
But
right.
at the end of the day, like if you could like push past all those thoughts and like kind of be confident about what you're doing, then like you could do anything. I feel like almost anybody could do a marathon.
Hmm. Kind of reminds me of you kind of have the same thoughts when you go into cold water.
Yeah.
Like you stay there for 30 seconds and then you start thinking, "Oh, I'm
I,
gonna
I, I
die."
still think yeah, I still didn't get to do one of those swims with you this year, but
Next
I
time.
wanted to go with my friends. I remember I invited my friend over to go, and then he's like, "I'll just watch and you'll go in." But then like it was like there's a really strict lockdown at that point. So like we're like if we drive, we might get like pulled over or something, and
Hmm.
then it never happened. But maybe next year. I think I'm pretty good at swimming in cold water. I did a really long swim once, but yeah, there's a lot of anxieties that come with that.
Oh
Like,
yeah, for sure.
will like my extremities, like, oh man, will my toes be fine? Will I lose toes? Like that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah, because you stop feeling them after what, a minute or 30
Yeah,
seconds, and you just stay there completely numb. Yeah,
yeah,
it's just a little bit scary.
yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like there's even times busking where I was like had hypothermia almost, and I was
What?
like, yeah, I played in like -15 or like colder, and I used to have like the shittiest jacket, so I was like basically wearing nothing.
Uh-huh.
And I remember like I remember one time like I was playing and my hands were like so cold and my feet were so cold, and it was like I needed to play harder to keep them warm enough.
Mhm.
And then like every like half an hour they'd like lose feeling for like
Oh
half an
shit.
hour. I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna get the feeling back. Like I got, and then like eventually like it'll like come back or
Uh-huh.
like the wind will die down. It'll be
Right.
fine. But like yeah, those were crazy times. I didn't even have like good boots then. Now I have like steel toe boots that are like kind of insulated, so it's like much better. But then I was like probably playing in like shitty runners or
Mm.
something.
I still remember that picture that you posted once.
It was probably like Converse and like 3 layers of socks.
It was the symbol, and it was covered with ice.
Oh man, I wish I was looking for a picture. I wish I still had that. I
Right.
sent that to you?
No.
Oh fuck. Yeah, that was that it was like it was freezing rain that day. But
Uh-huh.
I made like I shouldn't disclose how much I made. I made a lot that day.
Oh
It was good.
shit.
It was a good day.
Wow.
And
Crazy.
it wasn't too bad. Like
Uh-huh.
it was like rainy and like icy, but it was like I was able to drum and be fine.
Okay, okay.
And there was those days are kind of nice because there's like not many like I don't know, thieves or like crazy people or like crackheads there to mess
Mm-hmm.
with you. So it's
Right.
like those days are nice.
Mm-hmm.
I miss those days. I didn't even get to play this winter because
I
like
didn't.
no,
Yeah.
because with the lockdown there's just not as many people going outside, so there's no point in me going out there making like $30 and then profiting like 10 or
Mm-hmm.
like I burn so many calories too. I have to eat like $10 in food, so I gotta like equate that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's just no point going out like this winter.
Right.
But now the winter's like starting to die down. And then I was just getting ready, and then like I rented stuff, and we were just like finishing the painting, and then another lockdown happened. So I'm
God.
stuck inside for the next month.
Yeah, that sucks. Yo, let me check the cameras real quick.
Sure.
Because this one died. Unfortunately, this one. This one
It's probably good.
is still rolling. Yeah. Yeah, we are over an hour. Yeah, let's finish.
How's the longest one?
An hour? Yeah, everyone is like 55 minutes, hour and 5 minutes. Yeah, we're good. Okay, so let's finish it up. And thank you, Griffin, for sharing your
Thanks for having me.
experiences. And hopefully it was recording the whole time.
It better be. Or